My name is Brendan Kelso, and I'm here today to talk about the power of drama in education. And as you can see, these kids are having a blast doing some Shakespeare, and so a little bit of drama is going a long way for them. I'm going to talk a little bit about our agenda today, who I am, why should you even listen to me, the benefits of drama, and contact information. If you want to follow up, talk about drama, talk about Shakespeare for kids. I love talking to other educators and teachers and creatives in the world about reaching kids and getting them excited about Shakespeare. First of all, who am I? Well, to tell you the truth, I am the author of Shakespeare for Kids books and classics for kids. I have over 40,000 books sold, and they're plays really. Each book has 3 plays in it, and those plays are for 3 different group sizes, so the cast sizes are flexible. I have 26 different titles, both Shakespeare and classics, and I've been doing this since 2003 and working with teachers literally all over the globe on engaging kids with drama and theater and teacher and Shakespeare. I am also a teacher and a coach. I teach homeschool classes, after school classes, summer camps, spring camps. I also educate, coach, and teach teachers on how to integrate Shakespeare into their class, how to run their own drama program, which is very simple and easy, as well as I also teach parents how to do a backyard Shakespeare where they literally perform in their backyard for their family with a picnic. Pretty cool. But I'm also a speaker, and I do speaking engagements for both public school systems, homeschool shows, and theater shows, theater groups, as well as I do presentations on publishing and marketing books. And I do in-class presentations where I go into schools and I engage kids in Shakespeare and get them excited about Shakespeare. Shakespeare once said, "The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king." Hamlet. But I think it's maybe tweaked just a little, and that is the play's the thing where education is king. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more why. So, acting in education. So, here's just a little, it really emphasizes everything for me. For most teachers, it's the I hear and I forget. So, if they do a lot of talking, most of that's just gonna go right through. They use some visuals, those visuals are gonna help, and you're gonna remember some of them. I see and I remember. But the kinesthetic, I do and I understand. That's drama. That is getting in there, that is living, breathing the character and understanding where they're coming from. This right here is a quick little snapshot. I taught a Much Ado About Nothing summer camp. We performed a 20-minute version at the end of the week, really fun. And then that night, we went and saw an actual Shakespeare festival perform Much Ado About Nothing. So they got the basic idea, who the characters are, had a blast with Shakespeare, and then they went off and did a double feature, is what I call it. And they saw the entire play and they understood it, which was the benefit and the extra layering of education in there. But the benefits of drama, and we're going to talk about just 2 or 3 points here, but there's so many more. First of all, I'm going to talk about briefly about empathy. Why is the king so mad and so angry? Macbeth, I mean, he murdered his own best buddy to be king. What drove him to that? Or the lovesick fool. Why is he so head over heels in love that he'll do anything for his lady? What's the empathy? What's the driver behind that? And understanding what's going on with them. Creativity, getting kids creative. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. Comprehension, language skills, drama, and education, and how to get some education to your kids via drama. And there's a slew more that I could talk about, but usually this presentation is about an hour, but I'm cutting it down and talking some high level points here just to touch base on the power of that drama in education. First of all, empathy. People who are empathetic are less likely to engage in delinquency or crime. If you live someone else's challenges, you understand what other people go through. More plays, more perspective. So, for example, in a kid's life, there's their perspective. They see their life their way, it's their world. But as soon as you play another part, you suddenly see the world from somebody else's perspective, somebody else's shoes, and their perspective. But if you do a lot of plays and you start going around, they start getting a global perspective. They empathize with what the world is going on. They start seeing the world as more about us instead of just me. And that's the real power of empathy and empathizing with, why people are doing what they're doing. And really to emphasize that point is this, it's like one of the most important steps to stopping people from doing bad things is to understand why they're doing it. You can make laws and they're great, but if you don't understand the why driving them, you can't really put in a solution. When you empathize with what they're going through or learn that skill of empathy, then you can really put in some changes. Empathy is something we learn from drama that you do not learn from any other class. Creativity. This is my personal. I love creativity. This one means a lot to me. This is a skill that is not taught in any school. And yes, it is a skill. It is something that can be learned. And the basic way you learn how to be creative is by trying and failing, trying and failing. So that's the beautiful thing about rehearsals, right? You go in, you try a line, didn't get the laugh. You try the line a different way, it didn't get the laugh. You try the line another way, you got the laugh. That's what I'm going to do. Because each time you're being creative, you're changing it up. You're learning how to be creative. You're training the brain. Another way to be creative is let the kids run with their own ideas. And I'm going to tell you a little story about that in just a second. And there's various ways you can be creative. It's how you say your line. It's what you wear. It's where you are on stage that can make something creative and funny. It's the props you use that can allow something to be a better memory. Um, and the story is this pink flamingo. We were doing Jungle Book for Kids. And in Jungle Book for Kids, there's a line that says, Mowgli, Shere Khan is waiting for you down at the ravine. And what I didn't realize, or I didn't think of, and I'd done this play at least 6 or 7 times, all the kids suddenly started saying, he's in his floaty, he's going down the water slide. And I was like, what are you talking about? Well, what I didn't realize and I forgot was in our own little town, we have a water park called the Ravine. And so as soon as they said Shere Khan's waiting for him down at the ravine, the kids are like, we should put him in a pink flamingo. And I'm like, you get the flamingo, he's on stage. And that's our Shere Khan. And she came out and she was in a pink flamingo. And Mowgli's, dude, you're still wearing your pink flamingo. And oh, sorry. And then they continued on with the play, but it was so much theirs. They owned it. They loved it. Language. This one's really big for me too. I have a kid that has some challenges with language. When you do a play, one of the beautiful things about plays is repetition. You practice something again and again and again. So you comprehend what the words mean. You learn how to enunciate things better. Your difficulty reading can start going away. And when you're on stage, once you know your lines, that difficulty reading is not transparent on stage. So it's a confidence builder. And it allows them to understand the bigger picture of the story, which is something that typically is lost when you're reading line by line. But when you go through it again and again and again, it makes a huge difference. And special needs. Many kids with special needs can learn how to communicate better through plays and the appropriate plays for these kids. I've worked with tons of kids and schools with special needs programs on using my plays in their works and how to integrate them and help them with language. And the last thing we're going to talk about briefly here, and I'm going a bit quick on here, is education. If you want to educate about a subject matter, there is no better way than drama. Now let's think about it. It's a fantastic way to introduce classic literature to our kids. Kids are going to get Shakespeare in high school anyway. In the upper grades, they are going to get high school. So hit them when they're younger. And that's my specialty, is just the kids and Shakespeare. But you want historical lessons of leadership, government, do like a Julius Caesar. You want social studies, you can learn and talk about different cultures, societies, perspectives. Education, you want to talk about kings and queens, do a Midsummer. Rome, Julius Caesar, Renaissance, Romeo and Juliet. You want England, France, Richard III, Oliver Twist, Pride and Prejudice. It goes on and on and on. You can educate on different places by putting your kids in that environment. And I don't know about you, but all the plays that I did when I was a kid, I still remember today, because that's the new neurons. When you go something over repetition again and again and again, you build new neural pathways, and those neural pathways stay with you forever. It's a way of learning. There's so many other things that I could talk about, all those other pieces, and you can tell I just hit the high points of a few, but I'm keeping this short, I'm keeping it brief. This is my contact information. But one of the things I want to leave you with is imagine going through all of this shelter in place, these quarantines, if the arts didn't exist. If you couldn't play your video games, read your books, listen to music, watch TV shows, binge your shows. All these things are happening because of the arts. And that's why one of the main reasons that arts are so important in education. These are my contact information. My website is playingwithplays.com. You want a great thing to engage your kids with Shakespeare, especially the older ones. Do an insult-a-thon, Shakespeare insult generator, and go to insultlikeshakespeare.com, and it's free and totally cool. Kids love it. And that's my email, Brendan at playingwithplays.com. But I'm going to leave you with this. Nothing will come of nothing. King Lear. And basically, if you do nothing to change what you're doing, nothing will happen. So you got to try. So let's try something. And that's it. I'd say if there's any questions, but we are out of time. So these are a couple more of my plays that I have. These are some of the classics. If you have any questions, send me an email. Thank you for listening. And I hope you have a great day. And if you do Shakespeare with kids, have a blast with the Bard. See you on stage.